anything. I like to be very transparent about that because
Yeah.
other people do not have the same story.
Right.
And I've always had a very high achieving mindset. I've always wanted to. I've always had big, huge dreams. My dreams have always been big. I just didn't know how to get there. And when you're in the environment where you're the hardest worker in the room.
This is Midas Drop, and we are Midas Print. Today we have a special guest. Yes, she's starting off the season, first season with Sydney Peterson.
Hey guys.
How's it going, Sydney?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm very excited.
All right, so I know you from Real Estate Ranch. That's where we first met. And
yeah.
I don't know. We had like an engaging conversation. I feel like you're a very engaging person, but I don't know your story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ask some questions about it. I feel like there's different aspects of my story we can talk about.
I do remember. You say you're from Raleigh, North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Okay,
yeah.
So when did you come to Houston?
I came to Houston November 16th of 2022.
22.
Yeah.
It's about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I would say a year and a half ago. I hit a year this past November, so probably a year and a couple months now.
So were you in real estate then, or you
no?
Were just getting started?
So I actually got into real estate as soon as I moved to Houston.
For real?
Yeah. And it picked up really fast. I will say I picked up really fast. Here I'm very blessed to have been able to learn and use all the experience I have so far.
So every time I see you, I feel like you're in real estate for like a while. I don't know if because every time we like meet up and like talk and stuff, you're like, "Oh yeah, I got this deal. Oh yeah, I'm doing this." And I was like, first I thought you were just a real estate agent. Now I find out you were wholesaling.
I'm everything.
Now I find out you're a lender. I'm like, yo, what is she doing? Like,
yeah, no, I'm super blessed to be able to do all the things I am doing. You know, I am a licensed real estate agent in Houston, Texas. Also investor and wholesaler with that as well. And I also am the executive underwriter for our hard money company, Legacy Preferred Lending. So I do a couple aspects. With everybody I work with, we kind of do it all. So that's been a big change for sure.
Okay, so I've been learning about underwriting myself. I mean, I read a couple of times, but I'm still not understanding like the whole concept of just underwriting.
Yeah, so I mean, as the executive underwriter, all of the loans that come to us, I take it and I underwrite them, I approve them, and get it to the closing table. Okay. So as soon as you submit a loan application with us, I will be your point of contact through the start all the way to the end, and also post closing. So I just take a look at all the deals, making sure everything looks good, run the numbers on it. Essentially, we make sure you're gonna be buying and flipping a good deal.
Okay. So now I'm about to question you, why did you make the move?
So that's actually a very big. I get that question.
I always wanted to know.
I do. I get that question a lot, and it kind of.
When did you graduate high school?
I'm sorry.
When did you graduate high school?
Oh, see, that's a good question.
So people know. You forgot.
I don't remember. I graduated online. I finished high school online a year early than I should have.
Was it during COVID?
No, I was in high school during COVID, but it was the year after COVID. Oh, we were all back in school. I decided to finish high school early, a year early, online, so I can move to Houston.
Yeah.
And I finished that pretty fast. So I just graduated online. So I do have my high school diploma. So that's super exciting. And I took a couple of classes. Through community college in North Carolina, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So there was no point of me feeling like going through with college when I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. Yeah. So I took a leap of faith moving here. Basically, I like to be very transparent with the fact that I have grown up a very comfortable life. I've been very blessed by my childhood and my parents. Been given a lot of nice things growing up. Never really had to struggle or work for anything. I like to be very transparent about that because other people do not have the same story.
Right.
And I've always had a very high achieving mindset. I've always wanted to. I've always had big, huge dreams. My dreams have always been big. I just didn't know how to get there. And I when you're in the environment where you're the hardest worker in the room,
Yeah.
that is never a good thing. You always want to, be surrounding yourself with people that are working 10 times harder than you and 10 times more successful than you. So that way you're always growing, you're always learning. In my case, I was the hardest worker in my friend group and all the people I knew. It was my hometown. So I just decided I really wanted to move out. I felt like I wanted to learn how to struggle with money. I wanted to learn how to pay my own bills, how to figure things out by myself.
Yeah.
Also prove to myself that I can do anything I put my mind to.
Right.
If I gave myself that opportunity. So I booked a one-way ticket to Houston, Texas, and packed up 2 suitcases, and then I hopped on a plane and flew here with no job, no plan. Had an Airbnb booked for I think around 2 to 3. It was like I had an Airbnb booked for the weekend, and then I was like, I'll get here, I'll figure it out, I'll get a job. I had some money, but I also came with no credit. I came very young.
Yeah.
So finding an apartment by myself was very difficult. Or finding a place to live was difficult. And then I was able to get a job at a restaurant.
Okay.
So everything went to plan. It was definitely just a lot of roadblocks that was put in the way for me getting here.
So how hard was it for you to get everything? I wouldn't say that you wanted, but to at least get things rolling for you within the year and a half that you were here.
Yeah, so I feel like it just recently took off as soon as I went full time into real estate.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been super exciting. I'm super blessed to have this opportunity of doing what I am doing. A lot of people, don't. So I'm very happy that, I have given myself this opportunity to work so hard to get here. But so when I first moved here, I was working probably around 3 to 4 jobs. Say probably 3 jobs. There was times I was working 24-hour shifts per day.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was very tough. I was tired. I didn't know how to get to where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So it was hard for sure. It was a big challenge.
Right.
And I ended up actually I got my realtor license around when I moved here. And I would go to a couple networking events every once in a while, but not as heavily as I do now. So I went to one and I met this guy, and he introduced me to my boss now, Hunter Malik. And I wanted to get into wholesale. I was a realtor, but I really wanted to learn about the investing side. So I stopped by their office to kind of, pick their brain, ask them some questions. And then Hunter said, if I'll hire you if you quit all your jobs and go full time. And I said, okay. so I took the leap of faith, for sure. And I quit all of my jobs and I went into real estate full time and working for them. And I've been doing that ever since.
So what is the trust factor behind that? Because you literally jumping in.
Yeah, so a big part of it is I grew up not religious, but not really understanding or knowing. I've been getting into that a lot more here, which has been a phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of just trusting myself, is knowing that ever since I was little, I would never accept no. When I was a kid. It would not in the best way sometimes, but there would be some cases where there would be an issue being presented. So you used to ride horses, so there'd be a lot of issues being presented in that area, and I would figure it out till I succeeded. And so I knew I had that mindset, and even when I did move here, it was a lot of I didn't know what was going to happen, but I came here and I figured it out, and then I've always been okay. There's been really tough times, but I've always made it through.
Yeah.
So I knew that about myself, is that I'm always going to figure it out. So it's kind of that leap of faith moving into real estate full time, that it's something I wanted to do. I needed to do it to move on to the next chapter of my life. So it was just understanding that I truly will do anything it takes to survive here and to succeed, and just knowing that about myself really helped me take that leap.
All right, so while I'm hearing the knowing part and just trusting yourself is very interesting because hard work isn't enough.
Yeah.
And everybody a lot of people don't understand it. Hard work is just not enough. It's about how do you define that hard work, right? And that's something that I had to figure out for myself, because I felt like my journey started like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Literally, because I was in a marriage, it didn't work out, and then I was on my own after I graduated college, which was like 2020, and literally was like figuring everything out. I did Airbnb, I did Turo, and I was like risking it all. Like
Yeah.
I rented out my own apartment unit, and I was putting like 80 hours, but it was the worst 80 hours anybody could think of because I didn't define what was hard work for me until I started journaling and figuring out what were my goals, what did I want to build for myself, and then that's when I knew. I said, "Hey, we got a network."
Yeah. It's honestly is what I figured out too. It's
Yeah,
all of who you know in real
yeah,
estate. Even in just in real estate or in general or business in
right.
general. It's your network is what they say. Your network is your net worth.
Mhm.
It's who you know. And if I truly now, if I didn't meet the people I did know, I would still be stuck working in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Not understand how I would even get to my goal or how I'd get to my dreams. And
Mhm.
because I did meet the people I have met and I've worked hard with them. I now have a clear vision of where I want to see myself in 5, 10, 40 years. I
Mhm.
have my whole life plan and it's every single day you wake up with a purpose.
Okay.
And that's something that helps me a lot as well because I never
Mhm.
had that.
Right. Now I want to ask you about the horse, the sport you did, which I didn't know was a sport. The what's it called?
Never tell a equestrian horse riding isn't a sport.
I wouldn't say that, but I never knew if it was a sport or not. But
It
it looked
depends.
dangerous.
Yes.
So what are
So
some lessons you learned? Obviously, I feel like everybody has felt whoever's doing equestrian has fallen off a horse plenty of times.
so I actually ever since I was honestly born,
Uh-huh.
I we've had horses. My mom used to ride horses, so we had
Uh-huh.
we had a little pony. He was the meanest little pony. If anybody knows,
Uh-huh.
ponies are the meanest. The big horses are the sweetest.
Wow.
It's universal. Ponies are demons. So we had a little pony. His name was Stormy. He was the sweetest little thing. So I grew up kind of like riding him and hanging around him, and
Mhm.
then I ended up, started riding horses myself. And a big thing that I learned from that is to never give up, to always
Mhm.
get back on. When you fall off, you get back on, you do it again, and then it's a cool thing to when you do ride horses because you're not always the one in control. The
Yeah.
thing you're riding can change its mind and kill you at any second. So it's a lot about not being scared,
Mhm.
taking that trusting yourself that you know what you're doing
Yeah.
and trusting your partner. So in
Okay.
that sense, it's the horse that you're riding. You have to have a lot of trust with them. They
Mhm.
have to trust you. If there's no trust there, everything's ruined. And that you can take that into the business standpoint as well.
Yeah.
If you don't trust your partner, you don't trust who you work with, there's not a
Mhm.
lot that's gonna happen there.
Right. And then real estate is a vehicle. You taking a
Yeah.
risk by getting on that vehicle.
And you something I like to say too is,
Yeah.
you will never get to where you want to be and you never will get 1% better unless you take those chances. Unless
Mhm.
like you can sit there and I struggle with this too. You can sit there and say, what if this happens? But it's at the same time, yeah, but what if those happen? But what if it's the best thing that's ever happened? That's a lot what I struggle with about me moving to Houston was
Mhm.
what if I fail? What if, I become homeless? What if I can't afford to what if I can't afford to eat? What if I can't
Yeah.
afford what if it
Yeah, yeah,
fails?
yeah.
And then a part of me was like, okay, but what if it was the best decision you've ever made in your entire life? And in this case, it was the best decision I've ever
Mhm.
made in my entire life.
Right.
So it's a lot about just trusting yourself. And I also did bodybuilding too. You
Mhm.
didn't know.
Yeah, of course I did, but for the audience, of
For the
course.
audience,
That's good for
I
them to
used to
know.
be a bodybuilder. I definitely one day will get back into it.
But
Not
do
right
you
now
think
though.
that helped too? Like showing up at the gym and actually doing the work?
Absolutely. I will say the only reason, very transparent, the only reason I am who I am today
Uh-huh.
is because of the gym and is because of bodybuilding.
Mhm.
When I like how everybody gets in the gym, you don't like your how you look or you don't like your life and you want to make it more productive. In
Yeah.
that case, I didn't like how I looked. So
Mhm.
I, decided to show up to the gym. And it started at first of me just going with a friend every once in a while. And then it turned into me full on bodybuilding, got a coach,
Mhm.
meal prepping, every little sprinkle of salt on my food. Um, and that taught me a lot of discipline. That taught me all
Yeah.
about discipline. Motivation doesn't mean anything. You're
Mm.
always gonna have some type of motivation in your life, which is
Yeah.
good, but at the end of the day, motivation will never last. Discipline is when you have to sit there and apply yourself to it. And so showing up with the discipline every single day to the gym helped me a lot today. Also trusting yourself that, you know, you can do it. Like you can sit there and lift the heavy weight. Trust yourself to lift the heavy weight. And then also my favorite saying ever is the power of one more. Doing one more rep than you think you can do. You know, if you're
one more call.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it translates to literally everything, but it's like, you know, do one more rep. If you feel like you can only do 10, do 11. Oh, if you can do 11, do 12, do 13, and even do 20, you know? And then you just did 10 more than you thought you could. And it pushes your brain.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that you can truly do you push your brain, because your brain limits yourself.
Yeah.
And it does. That's a fact. That your body can go 90% more than your brain can. Your brain stops you.
Yeah.
And then even when your brain stops you, you can push 90% more. So I feel like nobody ever truly reaches the like failure in the gym, because your body can always go more than your mind does. It's your mind that stops you.
Right.
So it's, you know, understanding that aspect and putting that into everything else, that your mind does truly stop you.
Dang.
But yeah, no, for sure. It taught me a lot about that. And then I use that too in my business life. You know, if I can submit 6 offers, do one more. If people leave the office at 5 p.m., stay one more hour. Like every single day, show up better than you did yesterday, but also work harder than the people you're around. And I promise you, if you do that and you have that mindset, it's only going to keep getting better. You're always going to keep getting mentally tougher. You're going to keep getting disciplined. And once you become mentally tougher, you truly can accomplish anything. You will get to your goal.
So how do you condition yourself? Because you already say you were always a high achiever. Is that, what does that come from? Does that just come from new experiences and
I don't know. I will say
or is it your upbringing? Like I don't know which one it could be. I know mine has to deal with like my upbringing. Like my mother was a staff sergeant. She woke up at 4 in the morning, so I woke up at 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. So my dad's a very hard worker.
Okay.
But most of my childhood he was working in Chicago, so I never really was fully around him.
Yeah.
But I think it stemmed a lot from I had these goals and I had these dreams, and I knew them, and I wanted to get there so bad that I would force myself to show up and work harder. And a lot of books too. I read a lot of books. David Goggins. His books, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
She reads some of the hardest people out there.
Hands down, one of my favorite books of all times. Relentless by Tim Grover, and then Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Those books transformed my mentality, for sure, hands down. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins makes you understand that there is no excuse. I know a lot of people say that, which I understand. A lot of people say that I can't get to my goal because of X, Y, and Z. You know, I was brought up in a very bad childhood, you know, broke all my life. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But reading that book by Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, if you relate to that, read that book and then reassess. Because he came from nothing. You know, he was overweight, Terminator, I think that's what it was.
I remember that.
Like an overweight. He was an overweight Terminator. You know, everybody told him he couldn't do it. Everybody, he wanted to join the Navy SEALs. Everybody was like, "You're too overweight. There's no way you can do it," and he did it. And now he's one of the mentally toughest people in the world. And it's cool to kind of see that you can literally come from absolutely nothing, and you can get to your dream as long as you apply yourself, as long as you do the hard work, you become disciplined, you show up every single day. And it makes me realize, like, I have no excuse. The small things I complain about daily.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much.
Right.
So
I'll do that same thing. But I feel like what keeps people going are like 2 things: execution and experience.
Absolutely.
Because me being a military brat, I always was a high achiever myself. And I never stopped when I was done with school. I just never stopped because I felt like education was a lifelong thing.
Absolutely.
Experiences is a lifelong thing.
Absolutely.
And even though I moved everywhere as a kid, it still doesn't mean I experience everything in life.
No, of
So
course.
my question is to you, what are some things that you do, the small things that allow you to do the big things? Like, do you execute on small things? Like, let's say one thing I remember you
Yes.
do. You plan your whole week on
Yeah,
like a Sunday.
I do. So I try to do
I
it.
still can't do it.
I
I'm
have
trying.
no, I had this amazing planner. My
Uh-huh.
realtor mentor actually recommended it to me. It's called Freedom Mastery. I will, if you need a good planner, get that. It's
Okay.
phenomenal. It has helped me a lot. And as I learned this also from my coach, my bodybuilding coach.
Mhm.
I'm just giving everybody shout outs right now. Lamar Shaw. I learned this. I learned a lot of stuff from him. But one of the main things I took away from my time training with him
Mhm.
was to block out every 30 minutes of your day. You want every before your day begins. You know,
Mhm.
if you do it before you go to bed or you do it in the morning, you want to make sure your entire day's planned out. Because even as a realtor, you know, as a realtor or just in
Mhm.
real estate investors, everybody understands in real estate that something can happen and your whole day shifts. You could have a meeting, you know, just anything along
Yeah.
those lines. But if you're doing nothing all day and nothing else changes, you have a guideline to follow by.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Where you want 30 minutes. Let's say you wake up, breakfast, read, get ready,
Mhm.
everything like along those lines, and you sit down for an hour. You do your cold calls. You sit down for
Mhm.
another hour, send out offers. Just make sure every 30 minutes or hour of your day is accounted for. It's gonna help a lot. So I like to do that every Sunday. Is plan out my week in terms of any meetings, any
Mhm.
events that I'm having, anything along those lines. So that way, every single night, I have a good base to work around to plan out my 30 minutes. But I also use that journal to track my daily goals. You know,
Mm.
I like to make sure I read every single day.
Yeah.
I'm currently trying to finish 2 books a month this year.
What are they?
So,
What are you reading
um,
now for this month? Or yeah,
for
February coming
this month, I read Relentless by Tim Grover again
up.
and Never Split the Difference. I finished that one this month.
Okay, yeah, I remember
So,
you reading that. You came to the last meetup that we had at the Airbnb. And I was
yeah.
like, I had to ask you because I was like, I had saw your page and I was like, what book are you reading? Because I couldn't see the name. And he was like, Split the Difference. And I'm like, asking questions. I'm like, so what is that book about?
Yeah, no, so that's a good negotiation book
Yeah.
for sure. That's a really good negotiation book. But yeah, so Relentless by Tim Grover. I recently have been feeling my mind get a little comfortable.
Hmm.
Comfortable when you're in your comfort zone, that is an awful place to be.
Dangerous place for
Yeah, it's
sure.
very dangerous. And so I've been, especially on the holiday seasons, things were slow. So I was definitely getting back into my comfort zone.
Hmm.
So I wanted to pick that book back up this month just to kind of rewire my brain, moving into 2024.
Hmm.
You know, to start off the year back to where I was last year.
Okay. So how often do you get comfortable? If that's,
I
you
try to
know,
not get
is it a
comfortable.
seasonal
I
thing?
think I think
Uh-huh.
truly it's I'm because everybody's gonna struggle with it.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna get to a point where, you know,
Oh
it
yeah.
gets hard and you're gonna go back into that comfortable zone if you don't keep up with your brain. And you know, it's a
Hmm.
very thing that everybody struggles with. And I will say, you know, if somebody tells you they're not struggling with it, I think they're lying.
Oh yeah.
It's for
Human
sure.
nature.
We're all part of us is always gonna want to be lazy, you know,
Right.
for sure. So I you know, it's just making sure that, you know, you keep when you it's just noticing it. When you notice it, apply those
Mm.
actions to get you back in outside your comfort zone. Or even like one thing that I like to do when I see myself getting in the comfort zone is think of things that I would hate to do. Like some things that make me super uncomfortable to do and that I would absolutely hate doing it and then do it. Not in a bad
What are
way.
those things?
But like let's just say so skydiving I would hate it. I would love it and I've always wanted to do it, but I also it would be a big out of my comfort zone. It's something that I would be terrified to do.
Yeah.
So doing those things that you're makes you terrified or uncomfortable that are in reasonable demand to go and do it.
Mm.
And that just helps build your mindset as well.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and a big thing was me, like I hated being alone.
Yeah.
I hated being by myself if
Mhm.
it was without family, without friends, without in a relationship. I didn't like
Yeah.
it. So I forced myself to move here by myself
Mhm.
to get out of that. And that helped a lot.
Okay.
So just doing those things that you don't necessarily think that are comfortable to you to help get yourself out of the comfort zone.
I can name a few things that I hate.
What
I
are
hate
they? What are they?
running.
Well,
I
let's
hate
go run
running.
that.
No, but I got like a running coach for that now.
There you
I got,
go.
I'm about to talk to him Monday, but I told him, I was like, I hate running. I used to hate writing. I used to hate reading. Um, I still hate waiting. I'm a very impatient person. I'm working on that, but
I am
like
too.
that's my struggle with the whole real estate thing. But every time like when's the next networking? I was like, and the things that goes off in my head is just show up, keep showing up, keep showing up. And I was like, well, I ain't got no deal yet, and I hate sitting there on the computer like looking at deals and stuff. But
The one thing I like to
just keep
tell
showing up.
yeah, I like to tell people that are getting into real estate, if people come to
Uh-huh.
me, they're wanting to get their license, they're wanting to wholesale.
Yeah.
The first thing I tell people is it's gonna suck. It's in the grand scheme of things, wholesale is a very simple process to execute. But to actually go through it, it is quite difficult. And so I like to tell people it's gonna be hard. It's gonna take a while. Some people average, some people take a year to get their first deal.
Right.
Some people take a week. I was very blessed to get my deal really fast, which helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Because then I was able to actually go full time and be okay. So I was very blessed in that sense. But I will say, and sometimes it takes a while to get your first transaction with on the realtor side. It took me probably I think like 2 to 3 months to get my first lease. That wasn't even my first sale. So
Mm.
it takes time,
Yeah.
and it's something that you kind of have to learn delayed gratification, which is also the gym will help you with that.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
showing up and doing the work every single day and not seeing the results, but
Word up.
knowing long term that there's going to be a big reward. And a lot of people
Mhm.
don't understand that. You know, show up and do the things now that you don't see the result for, and one day you're going to see it.
Mhm. So I heard you like agree with me when I said I'm impatient. Like, so how do you even handle like how you actually deal with that being impatient? Like, do you have somebody in your corner that's like coaching you, or like is there like a mindset shift that you have to take?
I think I'm impatient the fact that of what I want in my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I need to understand how to fall in love with the process and the journey
Mm-hmm.
instead of the end result. And that's something I personally struggle with. I struggle with being happy with where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
and being patient in the fact that everything's gonna come at the right time.
Yeah.
Obviously I want not that I want everything now,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely do struggle with falling in love with the small things every single day.
Ah, man, she said the small things. And that's what a lot of people like I don't want to bring up relationships, but this brings me back to a
Yeah, we can talk about
relationship.
relationships. I
Yeah.
like to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that stuff's good,
Because
especially mindset
for
wise.
me, it all correlates. Like,
It does.
your first business is you,
Absolutely.
no doubt about it. Like your personal brand is your first business. Then, like every business you have is a relationship in general.
Yeah.
Now it goes back to the intimate relationships. The small things was the things that I couldn't get right, and that what caused me to make a shift overall
Yeah.
because just being a high achiever. Um, caused me to make a shift and just like focusing on the small things. Maybe
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing because I'm always looking at the big thing instead of what's around me
Yeah.
to help me actually build something to get there.
No, absolutely. I think that you need to take a look at all the little things. I
Yeah.
know, like, obviously there is an end goal, and there's always going to be your
Hmm.
end goal, and you're gonna write down all your dreams and goals, and that's where you want to
Hmm.
be. But you also have to take a look at something had to realize. I actually realized this yesterday is that what you have now.
Hmm.
Think back. Would you 3 years ago be proud of where you're at today?
Hmm.
And most likely it would be yes.
Right.
I know
That's a fact.
I know myself. Me, 6 months ago,
Yeah.
I was miserable. I was working jobs I hated,
Hmm.
working so much, just working and working and doing nothing else. I mean, now I still work, and do
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
as well. But I absolutely love what I do, so it's a little different. But
Yeah.
it's me 6 months ago would be praying to be where I'm at today.
Hmm.
And sometimes I don't realize that. Sometimes I don't take that into account that where I'm at today, obviously never be satisfied.
Yeah.
But also be proud of yourself. You've worked really hard to get where you are today, and obviously you just started. You
Hmm.
have so much left more to go, but
Yeah.
it's kind of just understanding that if you're never going to be happy or proud in the process,
Uh-huh.
you're always going to be miserable. It's
Right.
never about the money.
You're right.
The money's never gonna fulfill you inside.
Yeah, money is just a tool, and that's what I try to focus on. I'm like, money is a tool to actually like help me build the things I actually want to build. It's not that,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
it's not that I have to like of course we need money for those certain things like just to live, but
Money will
it's
make you
like
happier in the sense of living.
yeah, for sure.
For
For
sure.
sure.
Yeah, no, because something
Buying your time back, so that's a
yeah,
big thing.
absolutely. Go
Yeah.
travel the world,
Time
everything,
freedom.
cars, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So yes, I will say like that's something that I've been trying to stick to,
Yeah.
especially growing up with money. A lot of people have different standpoints on this. My standpoint is
Yeah.
someone who came from a family that, not saying had a bunch of money, but
Yeah.
had enough money to be comfortable all the time. Is that, you know, you can grow up, you can be surrounded by money and you can have money but still be absolutely miserable inside.
Yeah.
And I've realized that. And so it's kind of realizing there's more to life than just money. There's more to life than just a price tag on anything. It's kind of what your values are and what you really truly want. Something that I truly want, I didn't realize, was a family. I think, you know, I want to achieve all my money goals, millionaire goals, everything along those lines, but I also want a family. I want to be able to pass on that generational wealth, and I want to be able to, you know, help raise kids and be a good wife and have a husband. And that's truly like that's something I value.
Yeah.
And that's not anywhere close to money. Money is never gonna get that for me.
Never.
You know? So it's like kind of like figuring out the little things of what keeps you going every single day. It's not about money, because that will really,
for sure,
that will really help you every single day.
Yeah. And that's do you journal? Like for self-reflection purposes?
It depends.
Yeah.
I used to a lot. But now I think I don't think that I do much anymore. It's usually I have people I can talk to.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people I look up to about things that I'm struggling with, and I usually get a good response on that. But journaling is a really good way to kind of just reflect on yourself.
Do you still have your journals? The ones that you used to write in?
Not with me. They're in North Carolina. Okay. But I could go and get them in North Carolina.
Yeah, of course. Because I was just looking back at mine. Like, I started writing 3 years ago because, like, I had somebody to talk to, but it just wasn't enough. Because I have, like, this habit of, like, overanalyzing. It, like, drives me crazy. And then I get overwhelmed, and I get overthinking. I'm like, bro, it's not that serious. Just, that's why I keep saying show up for everything that I'm doing. Just keep showing up. Because right now I hate physical therapy. No. But, you know, 3 times a week just to get back to MMA. But I'm just like, bro, I hate it. But I keep telling myself, like, this is just his voice. Keep saying the same statement. Just keep showing up.
Keep showing up. Absolutely.
That's all it takes. I'm like, all right, let's just go.
Once you stop showing up, what happens? How are you gonna get to where you want to be?
Yeah, it's not the money at the end of the day, because like, I'm not even spending not much money. It's like $15.
Yeah, no, it's something I learned as well is, you know, if you can't be happy with yourself, and you can't love yourself, and you can't be happy when you're at your lowest, you're not gonna be happy when you're a millionaire. Yeah, because again, money doesn't buy happiness. Right. Yeah, it helps. It for sure helps. Money buys the cars, and the cars bring some sort of joy and happiness. But at the end of the day, you're always gonna have that deep feeling inside of you, and that like that pit dark feeling inside of you that you never gonna get away. And so I always like to kind of focus on and figure out what's gonna make me happy now in the moment. So that way in the future, I'm always gonna be happy.
Yeah. So would you say values is what keeps you in that happiness mind state, like that state of mind?
I'm struggling with staying happy. So I want everybody to understand that it's okay to, you know, not be happy with where you're at right now. I'm trying, that's one of my biggest goals, is to learn how to be happy with everything. With myself, with where I'm at right now, life. It's been a big struggle for me.
Do your values help though?
My values do help.
Just knowing that you're gonna like get there?
Yeah, no, obviously my value, I have good values, and I stick to my values every single day. And that definitely helps for sure.
Now I'm about to ask you, what are some of your non-negotiables?
In what regards?
In what regards? So
like friendships,
I got 3.
Relationships, or
friendships, relationships, and real estate, like business.
Okay. So one universal that I will say is universal is to show up. You know, if you're gonna say you're gonna be somewhere, or you say you're gonna do something, do it. Show up, be there. And that creates trust. That creates trust that I can, you know, honestly depend on you to do something. There's people that I know that I can call on. I know are gonna be there. And, you know, there's people that I don't call on because I don't think are going to be there. So it's like kind of just, and that's what I feel like that's with everything. Primarily more into the friendships and the relationship standpoint.
Yeah.
Obviously, whoever you are in a relationship with, you have to make sure you can, you know, you can call them and they'll be there for you.
Yeah.
No matter what, you can call them and then they're be there in physical or emotionally for you.
Okay.
And same with your friendships. You want to make sure people you're friends with are truly your friends and truly care about you.
Okay.
Because success is a very lonely road. It's a very dark and lonely road, and if you don't have the right people in your corner, it gets hard. So it's making sure that people in your corner have the same values, have the same beliefs as you, you know, show up and will help you and be there for you and look out for you. Because you don't get that a lot.
Oh, definitely. I think once you take that, like, that path, that dark path or left-hand path towards to get where you're going, you start to run into people that actually you can know they're gonna show up for you. You can trust them.
And communication is a massive one. Is being able to communicate, you know, especially in real estate. Real estate, when, you know, you're sending offers to somebody or people are sending offers to you or sending contracts, you want to make sure that you have enough communication as a realtor, as a wholesaler, as an investor, as even, you know, as a lender, you know, you want to make sure your communication is on point. People like to work with people who they can rely on and have good communication. And most of this, I think all the successful people that I personally know in real estate and just that are even just realtors, successful investors, just real estate in general, I find are all good communicators on all levels. So I think that's a huge part, just because not a lot of people want to work with people that, you know, can't communicate. So I think that's a big key point. Just understand, just you need to be a good communicator. But I'm very picky with who I surround myself with. In the friendship relationship wise. So I like to make sure, you know, the people I'm with are also very kind, are honest. You know, they have the same values in that sense as me. They work hard. As well as won't do something, they won't screw somebody over behind their back just to get money. I think that's a big one as well.
Oh yeah, it's a big one.
For sure.
So I don't know if you believe, but I believe communication rules the world, not money.
Yes.
Because you remember networking is your net worth? That's where I got that from.
Even in business, I think business is the most important. I feel like all the successful people I know are, in some regards, good communication. And what I mean by that is either are very, very good communicators themselves, or have somebody that can communicate really good for them. Yeah, like assistant, anybody in general. I know, like, just because people do get busy. You know, successful people are very busy, and that is a factor. That is you know, that's a factor in life. Is you can't be it's hard to be a communicator sometimes when you're super busy all the time. So having somebody under you or for you that can communicate super good on behalf of you, and if they don't know the answer, can communicate with you to get it. That will help a lot as well.
Okay, since we speaking about that, that's what I look for in a partner, like somebody who can communicate better than me. Because for me, I'm more of a idealist, and like for me, that's why I started writing, because I'm not too good at like expressing idea and speaking it, but writing, it's like I can do it easily. But sometimes you can't just write stuff down, and you need that partnership to like actually help you communicate and everything. So is that something you struggle with as well, or like you kind of like learn it from the people you're around and speaking to?
Definitely learn that from people I speak to around, for sure.
I definitely need to get around more people that communicate a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been an over communicator. Friendships, in relationships, I feel like I like to over communicate just to make sure all parties are. I'm also a girl, so I feel like it's universal in that standpoint too. But I feel like I always like to make sure everybody knows what's going on and how I feel and everything along those lines, because truly, nobody's gonna know. Something I learned too is nobody can read your mind, especially in relationships. Nobody can sit there and be like, "Oh, this is what she wants. This is what I'm doing wrong. This is what I need to do." Nobody's gonna be able to read your mind, understand that. You know, you have to be able to effectively communicate your emotions with somebody, business, friendship, relationship, your
Yeah.
partner, so you can talk about it. If not, it's never gonna
Dang.
work out.
Now we's talking about this. I'm learning that from like dealing with the kids. Cause I
Yeah.
like when I think I just do it because they're kids. I don't know why. But like I don't ever just assume with them. I actually communicate and actually ask questions with them. And they'll tell me, and I know if it's a lie or not. Cause I feel like people that have like a good heart can actually sense when somebody's lying
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
no,
think
for
that
sure.
and that's I think not assuming the worst from a kid actually allows me to communicate better with them. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking now. I'm like, am I assuming the worst with adults? Probably.
I mean
Probably just,
I
hey, you
mean,
should know.
you know what I learned actually from somebody
Yeah.
is to never trust them. So always never trust somebody unless they give you a reason to trust them.
Wow.
And that has changed a lot because I used to be a very trusting person. I would trust somebody right away.
Dang.
And there is some
I never heard
people,
that before.
yeah, there is some people that I will trust right off the bat, which is very, very rare. If I trust you
Yeah.
off the bat, it's extremely rare. But there is that has helped me a lot, especially moving here by myself and being here by myself.
That's one of the things I used to do. Just trust right
Yeah,
off the
trust.
bat.
I used to do it all the
But
time.
I
It's
never.
got me screwed over so many times.
So
It's
how
like
did you come up with that?
that saying.
Yeah, to get a reason to trust somebody. It's kind of like I don't respect you until you give me a reason to respect
Yeah.
you.
So my friend, he lives in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Actually, he's in real estate too.
Hmm.
I would talk to him a lot about
Yeah.
things that would happen. Right. When
Hmm.
I moved here, a lot of bad things happened. In that sense, and I would talk to him, be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like I trusted this person. I did this for them, or they did this for me,
Hmm.
and he was like, well, why did you trust them? Did they give you a reason to trust you? I said,
Hmm.
no. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, you should never have trusted them in the first place. So I learned that from him for sure, is
Yeah.
just to not assume the worst of somebody,
Yeah.
but never assume that everybody wants the best for you. Because it's a very small percent of people that actually want to see you succeed and want to see the best of you. And
Hmm.
once you find those people, and once you work for those people, or you find those people, you keep them. You don't do anything to jeopardize that. And I'm blessed enough to work for such amazing people,
Yeah.
that they all care about my success and my well-being, and that's very
Hmm.
hard to come by,
For
and to
real.
actually know that that is true.
Hmm.
So you don't jeopardize that.
Hmm. And I feel like you said small percentage. I only think it's like a 1%, like the 1%
Yeah,
rule. I think
no,
that's with everything.
absolutely.
Like when you trying to take that path to success, there's only like 1% of people that actually want to see you make it.
No, for sure, it's a very small amount.
Yeah.
So it's you have to find those people, and you have to surround yourself with good people.
Hmm.
For sure, and that's why when you see successful people, or you see people on those lines, their friend group is very small. It's quality over quantity.
Okay, so how many people you would say are in your circle? Just like give a number. Not you ain't gotta be
Not work
super detailed.
related.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
actually
let's say that.
expanded.
Not
I
work related.
expanded. Super proud of myself. I actually expanded my friend circle to some
Hmm.
amazing people lately. So
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to be able to do so.
Hmm.
I've struggled with that a lot recently, but I will say all my friend group that
Yeah.
I know care about me and want to see me succeed. That is not work. That I do not talk to about work is probably one person.
Okay.
But
That's good.
that I work with
It's a
on a
start. Yeah.
personal level, on a business level.
Hmm.
I would 4.
4?
4 or 5, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Not again, those are not all people that I tell everything to,
Yeah.
but I know that if I go to, I know that they're care
You're not
enough
gonna show
to
up, right?
they'll show up and they're gonna.
Okay. Um, what I was about to ask you. I got caught up. So I was just about to ask you. Here's the thing that I was thinking about. So, what is your, I would say, partnership with winning? How good is it? You say you're a high achiever,
Mhm.
and I know that because every time I talk, she's like, I'm on the phone. Hold on. I was like, I was
1
like,
second.
dang. 1 second. But
1
like,
second.
what is your partnership with winning? Like, how great is it? Is it unwavering?
Um, what do you mean by that? Is it like how bad do I want to win, or what do I see
Like,
winning
you
as?
never see a loss. Like, even when you lose, you just never see it because the focus is always winning.
Yeah, I definitely see losses. I definitely see the losses. I definitely feel the losses. I think every human is gonna feel those losses.
So you're just allowing yourself to feel those things.
And you have to like, especially like even when you go through, you know, a loss, if it's a relationship loss, friendship loss, person loss, business loss, you have to feel those emotions. You have to go through it, and you have to understand it's gonna suck. But if you hold it in, bottle it in, it's gonna come out in a bad way later on, possibly to somebody else that, you know, that could ruin your reputation or something along those lines. So you feel the emotions.
Yeah.
You know, feel those losses. But you also have to understand that you will never become successful unless you fail. And you will never get to where you want to be unless you take those losses and you keep going. People who take those, the difference between the 1%er and then just some average person is people experiences loss and failure and then just take it. And just say, okay, that's it. You know,
this is my life. Woe is me.
Yeah, it wasn't meant for me. This happened. And then people in the 1% experience the loss, the failure, and like, okay, this happened. What can I do to get better? What happened that I can make sure doesn't happen next time? How can I be a better person? How can I, you know, do this again next time and still succeed? And I think that's a big difference you'll find in people that are successful and people, you know, that want to be. You know, it's those people that are always working on themselves, always working on the mentality, working on their knowledge, working on who they are a person. I know my goals this year, become a better woman, a better employee, a better just person in general. And you have to understand you're never gonna stop learning.
Oh, never.
Somebody says you're the smartest person in the room, they're lying. You never want to be the smartest person in the room, and you're probably not going to be. Because there's always something to learn.
That's funny, because I never thought I was a smart person until somebody just told me.
That you're smart?
Literally, like, people tell me all the time, like, you're pretty smart, you're articulate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Either I'm not, like, around, like, I'm probably around people that are smarter than me, or I think they're smarter than me.
Yeah.
So it don't ever, like, resonate with me that I was ever smart to begin with, even though I was making good grades. Cause
yeah, don't limit yourself, for sure. I think, you know, our mentality limits ourselves a lot. You know, we think that we can't do this, we can't do this. Yeah. I know I struggle with starting out with new things. There's some things I've been wanting to do, but I'm like, it's I don't know, I think people call it the impostor syndrome.
Yes.
I think that's what it is, you know, so we actually, I'm actually holding our company's holding a women's event on the 24th of this month. And, you know, my first thought was, who would want to listen to me? Who would want to hear from me? Who would want to come to our, you know? So, and that's a big, don't think that way. That's a big, like, you need to get out of that because.
So how do you get out of that when you are thinking that way?
Kind of understand that that's not the right mentality to be in, and that you have to look at your journey. You have to look at what you have.
Do you have any, like, signal words for yourself? Like, whenever you are in that moment, like, for me, it's like, I keep telling myself, keep showing up, right? That's the signal statement that goes off in my head whenever I start to, like, shrink and come to this, like, negative mindset.
Yeah. I think I realize it. Something I'm good at doing is the people that I'm around. Yeah. I know can have a good insight. So I feel like I am very good at understanding that, okay, I'm not feeling too good today. I'm not feeling too good in my business. I'm not feeling too good, mentally. I'm getting too comfortable. Maybe today was just a bad day and I need to talk about it. I feel like I'm good at going to that person that I know can help me. Even if they can't help me, they can listen and give me their insight. And again, like, those people are more successful than me. So it's always about learning and listening to others that have been in your situation before.
So yours is just knowing.
I know. And I think it's if sometimes it takes a while to know. Sometimes I will say it does take a while to kind of understand and realize. But you know, it's once you do know, what do you do about it? Are you just gonna sit there and just take it, or are you gonna do something about it?
I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move to it.
I got it.
I'm gonna move. So I have this one statement, and it's like it sounds confusing, but I want you to, like, hear yourself say it and then, like, figure out what that means.
Okay. So what is it?
You gotta move people before you move them.
You have to move people before you.
No, you gotta say it. You gotta move. Oh, my English is kind of bad.
You have to move people before people move you.
Before you move them.
You have to move people before
you move them.
You've moved them.
It was
Tell
like
me a little more about that.
Weird. I don't know where I got it from.
Explain.
It's kind of like let's like put a scenario.
Okay.
So let's say I'm on Instagram, right? And I'm looking for somebody to come on a podcast. But I never like met them before. But I feel like they'll be good for it. What I'll do is I would make a photo, I would do a design, business card, a digital business card, send it to them with me and my podcast, make it seem like I'm already starting up a thumbnail or something like that. And then they're on it as well. Before I even met them or say anything, I'm like, hey, I feel like you could be on the podcast. Look, here's my business card. And they're already on it. It kind of projects.
Yeah, are you just taking their like photo off of Instagram though?
Yeah.
That might be a little creepy.
But that's what my mentor we was talking about, because I was like, dang. And that's why I got that thought. I was like,
no, you know what you need to do is you need to go you should go to just a lot of different networking events.
And just do that?
Just just like kinda because people like talk about them. It's universal. People love talking about themselves. I love talking. If you know me, I love talking. So it's like people love talking about themselves specifically. Yeah. So I feel like that's always a good. People feel honored. Be like, hey, I think it'd be good for my podcast. You should hop on. I think people would be honored.
I be having like a moment of like little think. Like, I know I have the ability to like talk to people and like get them to like talk about themselves, but I always be like limiting, like you say, limiting my mindset like limits itself to like, well, I don't like to talk about myself, so I don't think everybody else gonna want to talk about themselves. But I always get reminded when I go to like networking events, people do love talking about themselves. People love
another good book.
It's a good thing.
Another good book. Just as I'm dropping such good suggestions today, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that's one of the first books I've read.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, it's all scribbled out. I'm highlighted notes, everything.
You better than me.
Yeah, that has helped a lot, especially moving into business too. Is like, and the one thing it says, people love hearing their names. So when you talk to people, I feel like I do that a lot.
Sydney.
When I call people, I say their name.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's true.
Yeah, like when I talk to people, like, oh hey, and then I like say their name. Like if it's me, like, oh hey Sydney, or something like that. People just love hearing their names. And it's also another fact that people just love talking about themselves. I love people that let me talk about myself all the time. So it's like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing I learned from that book is kind of just ask people questions. Make them feel heard, make them feel like you want to hear about their story. And I'm sure that you can definitely get some good people. But also go to big networking events. Go to like different like if your aim is real estate, go to a bunch of there's always real estate networking events.
So my aim is real estate. And it's people that are like into like entertainment, like making videos, I guess like content creation, but it is real estate. It's people that want to like achieve big things no matter what your industry is, and you always have like a story. I think everybody has a story. Because people love to talk, but that's where the story comes from.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
No matter where you're at in life, everybody has a story.
Everybody has an excellent story.
And something along those lines, even if you don't think it is, I'm sure you have a lesson to tell or something to share that somebody else can relate to. You know, something that I realized, a lot of people in real estate and just in the industry itself or just in general or business in general don't share the hardships.
Yeah, they don't
share. You know, it's all about all the fancy cars, all the money I got, how much money I made, how to be successful, which is good.
That's not very much of an influence, I think.
I think it's good to show that you can do it out of real estate.
Or you have it.
But I feel like in this, in 2024 now or 2023 is all about like, that's how you got followers. It's just by posting all the nice things. And, I heard of people who would rent out cars and act like they owned it, and be like, oh, I bought this car, I'm doing this. In reality, they didn't.
Getting exposed.
Welcome to Sydney's exposing time. No, I'm not here to expose anybody. I'm just here to.
That's what it looks like, though. That's what it looks like. What's happening?
Yeah, no.
Everybody wants a real, authentic story,
and it's like people want to see. People struggle. Everybody struggles. Every single person in this entire world has struggled or has gone through something that people don't understand. That it's all universal. If you're dealing with something, somebody could have dealt with it as well and could help you, or somebody might be dealing with something worse. You never know, but you're never alone. And I like to be very transparent about mental health, about, you know, when people struggle with money, when they're getting started. I like to be very transparent because a lot of people aren't.
Right.
And I know it's okay. Like, just so
It's
everybody's
okay.
aware. It is okay when you're grinding to be broke. I say this all the time. It's
Yes.
okay. It's okay when you're looking at all these people wearing all these nice clothes and like, oh, I can't get that. I can't buy that right now. It is okay. Like, one day you're gonna get there and it's gonna be all much better. But
Yeah.
it's also okay if you can't, you know, if you're driving an old car, if you can't afford a nice car right now, if you can't afford all the nice things, it's okay. You know, you're working towards something.
I'm ready to get a hoopty right now. I'm serious. I got a nice car and I got the money for it, but I'm like,
I spent an arm and a leg for my car and insurance each month because I'm so young.
Man,
I could honestly I could be paying for a Lambo right now.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
paying for a Hyundai Elantra, so I got scammed.
For real.
I'm getting robbed every single month for sure.
Real.
It's horrendous.
And you're a great driver. It's crazy.
It's crazy. I wouldn't say I actually went down a one-way this morning.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't mean to do that, but I'm not a bad driver, right? Everybody's watching. It's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to drive with her.
Trust me. If you want to go about driving horror stories, like I think it gets worse as you get older. Like, just the amount of
luck with cars. I'll tell you my whole like car story. So I started off with my first car. When I first got my license, the first day I got my license, I backed into a tractor. I really shouldn't be telling this. Everybody's like gonna want to drive with me. And then I hit a deer by accident. That was the deer.
Wow.
And then
my ex hit a deer in my Ford Expedition. I don't care. 2006 Ford Expedition. I never got it fixed.
Oh,
but she got it fixed by hitting another car.
Well, there you go.
And then an older guy heard at the job, like it was a patient. He thought that he hit the car, damaged the car, but the car was already damaged at first. But he got it fixed, and that's how my truck got fixed.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and then I got a new car, and I hit this poor lady. And then I hit a mailbox, and my side window fell off. And then while I got a rental to fix while my car was getting fixed, somebody flew at my car and hit the side window off.
Wow.
It was bad.
Okay, you're right about the bad.
No, and then it keeps getting bad. And then I moved to Houston, and I you know, as a young female going on Facebook trying to find a used car, all cash. I get scammed. Wow. I actually still follow him on Instagram, so
you need to expose him. For real. We already talking about expose. You need to expose him right now.
We are not exposing people today. That's not the goal. I'm not name dropping. I am not name dropping, but I will say, I don't know if I necessarily got scammed. I guess it was just a bad situation that nobody ever helped me on. So
let's say finessed. You got finessed.
I got finessed. I got robbed.
So it sounds a little more
I got finessed. I got finessed. Yeah. And then my car got stolen. And now I'm on my new car. So
wow. I hate Houston. Just with the cars. Like the driving aspect, I hate Houston. Let's say that. Yeah, I hate Houston in that aspect.
I would be fine if my car didn't get stolen.
But it's a lovely place. Rough. But there's one thing that I've learned from like going to network events and seeing you there is that you never forget to ask. Do you get what I mean by that?
Explain, elaborate.
So this last meetup we went to, like you're asking like, hey, I got I guess you're like asking for contacts and like, hey, I really want to connect with you and I'm a lender. I don't know. I can't hear everything. But just
you're listening on my conversation.
I'm not eavesdropping too much, but I'm like, yo, she's not forgetting to ask. And I'm sitting here like, I'm having a conversation, but you're actually asking before the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, one good thing is you can go to networking event all day, every day. You can make a goal to meet 20 people. Mm-hmm. Are they going to remember who you are? You know how many people, most of the time people drink and people, you know, talk to 50 different people that night. You really think they're going to remember one person they get a business card from? And they, you know, to have a conversation. If I walk up to a random person, or they walk up to me and they're like, I buy houses. Yeah. Here's my business card. They leave, and I talk to somebody else behind them. We have a really good conversation, and we meet up for lunch or we grab coffee, and we have a personal connection. But they also, you know, they sell houses. So they do the same thing the other person does.
Yeah,
I would 100% use them instead of that one person who just walked up to me, gave me their business card, and left. And I never heard from them ever again.
Right.
And I think it's a big thing about, like, I go and make a goal to have 2, not even like 20, but 1, 2, or 3 really good connections with somebody. I've gotten deals from that. I've gotten really good connections from that.
Yeah.
I think that's so much better because people like connections.
Right.
People don't like just people that just walk up and just talk to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do. Don't get me wrong. People love people that talk to them. But I feel like personal connections are a really good thing, and it's just, you need to build on that. You need to have a personal connection with somebody. You have to find out, be like, hey, let's meet up this week. Let's chat. Let's chat after the event, or like let's set up a meeting. Like, have a goal to go to these networking events, but set a meeting out of it. Like, get a meeting from it and connect with them over lunch or coffee or something.
Okay, that makes sense. So, Sydney, what did you get out of this?
Putting me on the spot here. No. I think we had a really good conversation about just mentality. Mentality is a really, really important role in
90% of your success.
In your success, I think 100% of your success is going to come from mentality.
Okay.
So I think that's something to take away. Is focus on getting 1% better every single day, just like your sign says. You guys can't see, but there's a sign right over here that says get 1% better every day.
Right.
So I think that should be something.
1%.
1%, not 3%, not 2%. Yeah. Only have to do 1% better every day.
Right.
But for sure, that was good.
Yeah, this is great. Now we get to sit down and watch whenever it posted. And it's like going to be the best memory. Like, so whenever, I guess, 5, 10 years from now, you're going to see yourself and you'll be like, yeah.
We can see ourselves when we started.
I really did that.
I did that.
I did that shit.
No, it's a good reminder. We all start somewhere.
Yeah, correct.
Always, think about the future.
Yes. All right, guys, we go ahead and wrap this up. Remember, Midas Print. We are Midas Print, and we do have Sydney Peterson. You can follow her on all Instagram, Facebook.
I have a TikTok. We have YouTube.
Okay, TikTok.
Follow our Legacy Preferred Lending Instagram. Post a lot on there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see Sydney for sure.
For sure. DM me if you have any questions, and I'll help you out.
Correct. And she is a hustler, so she gonna get it done. So don't worry about anything. She already told you what she does and how good she is with communication. So she's got you. No worries. All right, guys. Peace.